So, hello everyone, this is Djuntas, and today we're just gonna talk a little about Baldurs Gate 3. So lately, last 2 months or so, I've probably just been playing some Diablo 3 with this season. Did get my Necromancer to do like a Greater Rift 120, and then I also played some, Eternal Realm on Diablo 4, so that's just kind of in like the few games that I have been played recently. But like a month ago or so, I did finally cave in and I bought Baldur's Gate 3. Some of my friends or whatever also kept like suggesting it. They said it was really, really, really good. I think they have also fully completed the game by now and so on. The only major thing I hear about this game, if you worry about it in a long term or whatever, is that the Act 3 is still very, what can you say, not finished, still full of issues and bugs, but that is literally the only thing, and I do agree that is literally the only thing, because from the title of the video here and everything, I thought I would hate this game. I literally thought I would. I'll tell you one thing, I haven't bought a 60 euro game in probably many years. So when I saw the charge on my statement a few days after I bought the game, I was like, what? 450 Danish kroner for a game? I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that 60 euros were actually that much money. Because I never buy a game full price. I haven't done that in so long time. I didn't even know the conversion rates in my head. But it was worth it. It was actually worth it. I haven't really played that much. Right now, I'm in this little area here where the first time you're gonna go underground. So I had done everything in Act 1, when you say on the upstairs or the normal territory. So I've done everything there. And I do mean everything. I really try to just explore everything because the game actually rewards you doing side quests or side areas. Not like in Diablo 4 where I haven't even done any side quests in Diablo 4 since the game came out, and I was like level 22, I guess. But in here, the game actually rewards you from doing exploration. It wants to, it basically it sort of forces you early on to also just explore. But I want to start with one cool thing that I did in the game personally. So you can see Shadowheart and Gale is the one that I made. So it's the wizard. I always play wizards in these games. That's the preferred way to go in RPGs. And I started with Shadowheart. And I only had those two at level 2. And I went straight for the Goblin Stronghold. I can just go up the stairs now, and I'll just kind of try to introduce you to like the main quest. So this is sort of the stronghold. I can perhaps just find it here. I think it's gonna load a little bit. Yeah. So this is the Goblin camp, and I'm just gonna quickly go down here. So this is where you start. So you're a little just getting off in this little island here. Then you're gonna go up to the Emerald Grove where you get like the main quest, and then you can go straight from Emerald Grove to Blighted Village, do a little bit of fighting here, mostly skipping, and then you go for the Goblin camp. And if you do this at level 2, my god, this is some of the hardest thing I've ever done in a game, but I managed to do that. It was at level 2 or level 3, and it's only because you can do so much crazy cheese strategies, which of course you find on YouTube. But if you cheese the game, you can actually break the game and just do crazy stupid things that you should not be allowed. Like doing this Goblin camp here is like one of the last things you will do in Act 1 until you go underground or whatever. Like you can see, this is pretty much the entirety of Act 1, and I've been pretty much everywhere, because again, it's actually rewarding to explore everything. There's not much more else to say than people haven't said. Like the graphics are just great. It runs really well. There's no bugs in Act 1. Act 2, from what I can see, I haven't encountered any issues. The music is awesome, the vibe is awesome, everything just sort of works. It's a finished game. You actually feel like like when you play the game, you don't play the game and you think, oh, what should I change, or what could be changed. Another thing I also want to mention is, why did I think I hate this game? It's because it's turn-based. I'm not into these dice games and board games and all those sort of things, but you can actually ignore that. All you have to know is that you need to go to your camp and rest, every few fights or whatever, and then just spam the living crap out of your best spells. And sometimes you have to go to your spell book and change out spells, which you can do on the fly. So it's not an issue, but like you don't have to know what Dungeons and Dragons is. I have no idea about that game. I don't even want to know about that game. Board games have zero interest for me. Card games have zero interest for me. Personally, that's just how I am. But you don't have to have that sort of game knowledge. Now, I guess I just want to kind of finish the video now to some negatives. The worst thing about this game is that you're gearing up 4 characters at the same time. So it's basically like if you were in Diablo 4 or Diablo 3, whatever, and you had 4 characters at the same time you have to gear up. And what does that mean? It means terrible inventory management. They have so much crap items in the game, and yeah, I'm at the point now where I'm not gonna pick up any item that doesn't really have like a crazy high sale value or is important in some other way for a quest or whatever. Because even just selling items, looting items, going through it all, like you can literally spend. Like I hate the inventory management in Diablo 4 where you have to click all the items through and make sure one of the items from a Nightmare dungeon isn't a good one or whatever. But it's even worse in Baldurs Gate. You get better at it over time so you can see what is crap and what is not crap. But that is the worst thing about this game. It's just the inventory management. Having to deal with 4 characters. I mean, it is 4 characters. Look at all the item slots. You got your helm, your cloak, your weapons, your offhands, your ranged weapon, a music instrument. Like there's so much items that they all need to carry, or maybe it's not mandatory. It's like I played on story difficulty, which was pretty easy, and now I turned it to normal, which is definitely a lot harder, but I still think maybe you don't have to min-max the game or even know much about the game to complete it, or at least feel like you're not hopeless at the game. So again, someone who has no experience with this type of game can actually understand it to a little bit of a degree. Like the only thing you kind of have to know is just that there are spell slots, and those spell slots are either level 1 or level 2, and some of the spells requires a spell slot 2 or it's a level 2 spell or whatever. Then you got your levels and your gear, and it's sort of just an RPG in that way. But yeah, there's just so much. Like every quest has 5 ways that you can literally end a quest. Say I think it was down here, there's a little hag, the old hag. You have to kill the hag. And when you do that, there's literally 5 ways that this quest can end. And that is like maybe an annoying thing, because you kind of just want to have the best outcome or the best path. Maybe you like to be friendly, or maybe you like to be evil. You perhaps just want to go the evil way only. But at least you can quick save in between things, so you can kind of get the outcome of the story that you maybe prefer. But yeah, in general, it's just insane how much the story changes in a meaningful way, actually. In a meaningful way where, I mean, you actually do, if you completed this game, you haven't seen the story, or at least you haven't seen all of it. Like, that's pretty insane for me, at least. That the... oh yeah, did I mention that everything is voice actors, cinematics all the time? But the fun thing is, I don't want to skip the cinematics or the story, because I actually want to watch that. Which is again weird, because I don't care about cinematics in WoW or any RPG I tend to play, like Cyberpunk. I don't care about that story at all. If I'm gonna continue playing Cyberpunk, eventually I'll play it a bit more, maybe. I'll probably just skip the story 80% of the time or something like that. But I don't even feel like skipping the story in this game, because it's actually intriguing. And I do like the world. And yeah, can I just mention the graphics? Like this area at the Goblin Camp, this is outside the Goblin. This is the first area that you go to at level 2. And there's just hordes of enemies everywhere. And then you go into the keep here, the dungeon, and you... whatever, I don't want to make too many spoilers, but suffice to say, you are doing the Goblin Camp as one of the first things in this game. And this is just such a big open area. Insane graphics. It really is. It isn't cyberpunk graphics, but it's close enough where you feel like even a good high-end system is going to get stressed. And if you have a good CPU, that also is very rewarding, because I think it scales very well with a good CPU. So that's nice. If you don't have the best graphics card, but maybe a good CPU, that also scales very nicely. Yeah, but I think that's about it. Again, the only thing I kind of hate is the inventory management, and maybe just a little too much Dungeons and Dragon. You have to learn a few things early on, but again, you can't just kind of ignore all these things, because the only thing you have to worry about is just understanding that you get levels, and those spells can be changed out a lot. If I can remember the keybind now. Yeah, there you go. That's the spell book. So I just wanted to mention this at the end. The spell book is insane to understand at early on, because some of the characters have no spells. Like Karlach here, she's a barbarian or whatever, so no spells or whatever. Very simple to understand for the most part. But then you have someone like Shadowheart or Gale that literally has, more spells than a character on fucking retail WoW has. But the cool thing is here that many of the spells are situational, so they're not really important or whatever, but you can change them out at any time, however you like. So right now, I'm, for instance, very, very insanely overpowered having hold person on 2 characters, so both Gale and Shadowheart has hold person. And this spell is fucking insane. Like, this is broken good spell. But the game allows you to have such a good spell on 2 of your followers. So that's just awesome. Yeah, I don't want to make it that much longer than that. Again, I thought I would hate this game because of the turn-based and everything. And I'm not into board games, dice games, whatever. But yeah, I was very surprised. I understand now why it sold 10 million copies just on Steam alone. From what I heard, 10 million copies on Steam alone. So PlayStation, I think it's also on Xbox, so maybe they sold 20 million copies by now. And again, I talked about earlier on that I haven't bought a full price 60 euro game in so long time that I didn't even know what it costed in my head, the conversion rate in my local currency. So yeah, it was worth it. Even paying such a high price, the game was actually worth buying. And I'm sure that it's at least 100 to 200 hours to complete for me, because I don't play these games pretty fast, I would imagine. But even just if you're not going to complete the game, even if you don't think you're ever going to complete the game, just playing through Act 1 is probably a good enough experience for most people to see that this game is actually pretty good. So yeah. Baldurs Gate, very surprising. I thought I would hate it. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and have a good one.